Good morning, everyone. So happy to see you. Happy Wednesday. I'm back again for the Make More Money Now series. And if you're on my email list, you're getting the emails, you're knowing I'm going live every single Wednesday morning at this time, 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, to talk about how you can start making more money now. Last week, we talked about giving yourself permission to want what you want. Hey, Courtney, so happy to see you. Glad you're here. Good morning. And so your homework last week was to really sit down and get in touch with what it is you truly want and why you want it, and just allow yourself that permission to do that. You know, I was thinking about, hey, Jarrett, so happy to see you. Thinking about giving yourself permission to want that. And before I get into the shame and guilt piece and how that affects your income, I was thinking about the giving yourself permission. And before I moved to the Phoenix area 14 years ago, we lived in a tiny town of about 2,000 people in Colorado. And I was like an anomaly in that place, you know, a woman with thoughts and opinions. And I was not a very popular person, but I did have my hypnotherapy business there. And I had a lot of clients. I was able to, contribute to the household income, but nobody would tell anybody that they were seeing me. So there wasn't like word of mouth support. It was kind of funny. But anyway, I also homeschooled at the time. And so I did a lot of things with other homeschooling moms. And there was this one homeschooling mom, and she did a side business. And it was something like, thank you, Jarrett. It was some kind of MLM company of like, I can't remember. It was around, I think it was the scrapbooking company that she sold the scrapbooking stuff. And she told me that she was going to quit it. She wasn't going to do it anymore because she would set goals and build that business and make some money and have parties and things. And that would take so much of her attention. And she would get angry when her family didn't respect that time and attention that she wanted to give that side business. So she decided just to give it up rather than ask her children and her husband to respect and honor what she wanted to do with her time and her way that she wanted to make some money. And I just remember that because I was like dumbfounded by that. She's like, oh yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. Hey, Amanda, I'm not doing that business anymore because, it gets in the way of my family, and I get angry when, my boundaries aren't honored. And so I was just like, what? and it confused me. And I didn't even know how to put it into words back then. And plus, it was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. And I was kind of like, I didn't speak my truth as well. I just realized like how different I was in that place. So that's about giving yourself permission to want what you want, and act as if, begin to embody the idea that you matter. Like what you want, even though you may have a family, like it matters. And what I've discovered over the years, because I was, when my kids were really young, I was that mom that what I wanted didn't matter. Like the greatest mother and wife that I could be was to sacrifice myself 100%. And what I've discovered over the years, and many of you may have heard me share this, is that the more I embodied my own self-worth and beginning to claim that I matter and that my wants and desires matter, the better my children did. The more confident they were, the more confidently I showed up for them. I became empowered so I could empower them. So let's go on to the shame and guilt piece. one thing that I don't see most coaches like really addressing, and when it comes to money, everyone talks about what's your relationship with money. Look back over your past and, what did you learn about money? What are your deep-seated beliefs about money? And although I stand by that, I think that is true. That's really like the surface layer of really understanding how to make more money in your business. It's not just about your relationship with money. It's really about self-worth and what you believe about yourself. And the deepest root of your self-worth comes from what you believe about yourself. And what you believe about yourself is directly affected by shame and guilt. Shame and guilt. So those two energies are low frequency, low vibrational emotions. And when you carry those either consciously or unconsciously, and most everybody is carrying unconscious shame and unconscious guilt. Shame and guilt have been used for eons to control the masses. Right? So becoming aware of that is truly a first step. When you heal heal the shame and the guilt within you, you are literally going to open up the way for you to receive and make more money. Because what happens when you heal that shame and guilt is that you recognize that you matter. Oh, I matter. It's just like what that woman shared with me, that she gave up her business because it got in the way of her being completely self-sacrificing, right? She didn't matter. When we carry shame and when we carry guilt, it really feeds into the belief that I don't matter. So when we look at what shame is a deep-seated belief that I am bad. Right? I'm shameful. How do you recognize shame in your everyday life? Because shame is so painful, we tend to suppress it. I've heard women tell me, I don't have any shame, I don't have any guilt. But when we really dig deeper, there is this suppressed shame and guilt that they have just pushed down for so long because those emotions are so uncomfortable that we really try to disconnect from them, but we can't disconnect from them. Unconscious emotions like shame and guilt affect our decision-making process. It affects how we show up for people. It affects how we make offers to people. It affects whether we make offers to people. It affects whether we go into business for ourselves or not. Right? So the shame piece is I am bad. Okay. How does this show up in your life if you're not like if you haven't been connected with how you are truly feeling? Is embarrassment. Is there a time in your life or something that you're embarrassed about? Is there anything in your life that you don't want anybody to know, that you wouldn't even share with your partner? Right? How many times I work with women who are like, oh yeah, my husband doesn't know that. I would never want my husband to know that. That's shame. And that's a belief that if somebody truly saw me, if somebody truly knew me, they wouldn't love me. Right? They would reject me. There's the fear of rejection. They would abandon me, the fear of abandonment. So if you have anything that you're embarrassed about, that you hold close to the vest, that around embarrassment, that is shame. So recognize that if you have that kind of shame, then you're not going to, it's going to affect your income because it's going to affect how you show up in the world. Like, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. If you're not going out into the world completely authentic, especially now, we are awakening spiritually. Our intuition is rising. We sense people more strongly. So it's more important now than ever before that you're 100% authentic in your business. And as women, we have learned that we can't be authentic because we will be abandoned and rejected, right? Because I have this shame, if people really saw me, they would abandon me because who I am is unlovable. Who I am is unacceptable. So healing those shame and guilt pieces is imperative for you to show up in your business and succeed, to make the money that you want to make. It's really more about your relationship with yourself than it is money. So look for what do you deem embarrassing in your life? What is it that you don't want anybody to know? Focusing on the shame piece, one of the greatest experiences I had. Hey, Amanda, I don't know if I said hi. Hi, Tolrisa. So glad you're here. It's nice to see you. One of the greatest healing experiences I had when I first started on really going deep into self-development. I've been spiritual and metaphysical since I was 16 years old, but really diving deep into the self-development occurred about 15 years ago. And I went into this group setting and I realized, how much I had put a shield up and how much I wasn't letting people in because, I help women fall in love with themselves. I'm a coach. I know how to deal with my own shit. And that was kind of that was the total attitude I went forward in this place. Oh, good. Thanks. I said hi. Nice to hear twice. I went into that circle going, I help women, right? Fall in love with themselves. I don't need to be in the center of a circle getting support. That was truly my ego. And it was funny because I had this wall up. And when I shared that, I was the very loving people. Of course, they weren't perfect, but they rejected me. When I showed up with that wall, they rejected me. I hate you. You can't possibly be doing good work in your life if you're not willing to work on yourself. I had all of these messages come in. And so the following week, I was like, how can I shift this? What do I need to do? So the following week, I decided to share the 3 top things I felt most ashamed of. I just decided to be vulnerable. I'm like, I don't want to carry this anymore. And I knew that it was part of loving myself to release the shame. So I went and I sat in the circle and I just revealed all that I felt ashamed of. I don't even remember what those are anymore. And what happened was that was met with pure unconditional love. I got so many hugs, so many thank yous for sharing, so many, what? You felt ashamed of that? That's what you've been carrying around, right? And because I had carried those things around for so many years, they grew bigger. They were bigger in my mind. And so this is what I invite you to do, is work through that shame. Maybe you find a group. Maybe you find a group that you share. Maybe you have a girlfriend that you reveal it to. That's the work I do in helping ambitious, visionary women make more money in their businesses and really be seen, is heal that deep wound of shame. Because when you do that, you truly can love and approve of yourself. And the next piece I want to talk about is shame's cousin, guilt, right? So guilt is meaning that I do bad. My decisions that I make hurt other people. That's guilt, right? It's not I am bad, but I can't trust myself to do things that honor other people. And as women, we carry that around as just like that mother I said, right? She felt guilty that she wanted to take time for herself to do something that she enjoyed, to make her own money. That was guilt. And what her family supported her in was that, Wow, yeah, when you're doing that, you're away from us. You're not taking care of us, and you need to be taking care of us all the time. And that's what women have been brainwashed to believe, that if I'm not with my family, if I'm not fulfilling other people's expectations, I'm being neglectful, and therefore my decisions harm other people. Well, studies show that women who have a sense of fulfillment outside of their family, outside of their children, actually raise more self-reliant, more self-confident, and more independent children. Studies show that. So all that we've been taught, that we need to be self-sacrificing so we don't feel guilty, so we're not harming other people with decisions, is total crap. It's total crap. I want you to take that in. And the belief that I do bad and my decisions harm other people goes way back in history. And so it's something that we need to work deeply at and understand that I am a blessing. And that's the opposite, that what I do harms other people, is to know that I am a blessing, and that my decisions bless the people that I love the most, even if they don't get it at first, right? I remember years ago when I got really serious about my business, and I couldn't just drop everything for my older kids and do what they wanted me to do, because now I had to be their breadwinner, right? And that was met by my teenage daughter. She was a teenager at the time. That was not met with, oh yeah, Mom, I know that, good job, way to take on, being a single mom, and taking on the burden. It's not, it felt like a burden at the time of being the breadwinner of the family. She wasn't like, go mom. She was like, what are you doing? You're my mom. There was a great deal of resistance. And I had to keep telling myself, because the guilt was so strong, this was new action to me, that my decision was somehow harming her. It was causing her discomfort in the moment, that's for sure. But ultimately, it blessed her. She couldn't see that blessing. So what I invite you to do is, when you recognize that, am I making a decision? Am I doing what I really want? Or am I avoiding disappointing others and avoiding feeling guilty over that disappointment? I was working with a client yesterday, and this was so important, that she gives her adult son money whenever he asks for it. And we took this back in the past about her guilt about how she mothered. There was one instance over 50 years ago, right? Because she carried this guilt, she couldn't say no to him now. And what we discovered was that by saying yes, she was avoiding her own discomfort of guilt. And in doing that, she was disempowering herself and disempowering him. So I want you to recognize that when we do something out of avoiding to feel guilty, right? Like, I have to do this because I'm guilty if I'm not doing it. That's like a sense of obligation. When you do that, not only are you disempowering yourself, you're disempowering that other person. So what blesses you, doing something out of guilt, never blesses you. I want to be clear of that. It never blesses you. And here's looking at the other side of it. I don't want anybody to do something for me because they feel guilty if they don't. I don't want to carry that energy. That feels yucky to me. So consider that when you're making a decision to do something out of guilt, right? That is yucky energy that you're creating in that relationship. It is heavy, toxic, disgusting energy, right? So clear that up and understand that you get to stand in your power and do things out of love. When you carry shame and guilt, You will not, here's the piece for guilt. If you're carrying guilt, unconscious or conscious, and most of the time it's very unconscious, when you carry that guilt in the unconscious mind says, oh, I am guilty, I deserve to be punished. So that your mind is really looking for ways to not give you what you want, because ultimately it doesn't believe you deserve it. You don't believe you deserve it because you carry shame and or guilt. Most often you carry them both, okay? And both of those energies repels receiving. You get that? In order to make more money, you have to have the ability to receive. And if you are feeling guilty and ashamed, you literally repel money because you are not open to receiving. So I want to invite you to book a call with me if you would like to explore this more and get more personalized support. I would love to talk with you and help you discover where you are unconsciously repelling money and how you can stop doing that. If you have any questions, any comments, put them in the comments below. I'm going to come back and read those so I can support you and answer you. I'm also going to put in the comments below my link to schedule a call with me so I can personally support you on how this is showing up in your life. Thank you everyone for showing up. Tolrisa, Amanda, Jarrett, so great to see you, and Courtney, love you all. Bye for now. I will see you next Wednesday for more of this series, Make More Money Now. Bye. I think I saw Dogma's face. I don't know. I can't see everybody who's on. Oh, wait, I'm going to see. Hey, there's Dogma. Good morning. I didn't see you come in. I'm so glad you're here. Bye for now, everyone. There's a big lag in ending this. Bye. Thanks for stopping by. Share this video if you liked it. If you thought it was meaningful, please feel free to hit the share button.